Hi, my name is Wajid. The hybrid rubric, a combination of analytical and holistic rubrics with score distribution of various steps of student performance. Here is shown a structure of a rubric from ab.org with the scales, dimensions, and descriptors of a typical communication skills rubric. An example of an holistic rubric for teamwork showing all dimensions applied collectively for scoring by raters. An analytical rubric for teamwork showing all dimensions applied individually for scoring by raters. An actual workshop example with Faculty of Engineering, Islamic University Civil, Electrical and Mechanical Engineering Program faculty. An electrical engineering example. Program coordinator and EBIT coordinators. Let's extract course outcomes and PI's information from our eval tools course portfolio. EE301 Signals and Systems. Let's select the course outcome now. Classify systems with respect to continuous or discrete time, time invariant or time varying, linear or nonlinear, causal or non-causal types. And then let's select the performance indicator. Assignment list, PI 158. Explain the classification of systems and signals with reference to different types. And A is student outcome, applying the knowledge of math, science, and engineering. Let's look at student activity, final exam question 2, for a sequence of steps required for performance of this assessment. Various steps for ideal student performance are extracted from the sample assessment. Identification of all characteristics of a signal system, classification of the signal system with logical reasoning mathematical expressions. Now these steps will form the basis for our highest expectation for student activity. The design down principle from ABIT SOA, applying principles of math, science, engineering to course outcomes and performance indicators. Course outcomes classify systems with respect to continuous, discrete time, linear, nonlinear, time varying or time invariant, causal or non-causal. Performance indicators are improved from classification chain to classify given system set signals with respect to the above mentioned types. For the highest expectation, list all sequential steps required by the student performing any learning activity with the highest level of skills. Let's write down all the sequential steps with the requirement of highest expectations for the rubric. This will take several iterations. We shall continue with these iterations to improve language of the required activity with highest expectations until we finally arrive at the desired steps that students actually take to reflect their highest performances. A critical thing to note: in order to achieve highest expectation, all listed steps and skills levels should be completed by the students. These skills and steps should not be optional. The sequential steps for highest student performance are identifying all the characteristics of the given system and signal, and based on these characteristics, classifying the system signal as per the given types using thorough logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. Now we are ready to copy this into the rubric. And we also copied John Estell's EAMU scales, which have been mentioned earlier before. In the excellent or highest expectation category, we have the steps listed as identification of all required characteristics accurately for the given system or signal, and based on these characteristics and the different types of signals and systems, classifications are made by thoroughly explained logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. Let's copy these steps to the adequate category, and with a few iterations you will arrive at the desired results of language for the adequate category. Now for the first step, students are required to identify most of the required characteristics accurately for the given system or signal and not all characteristics. And based on the characteristics, classify the system or signal as per the defined types by using adequately explained logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. Now the difference between the adequate and excellent categories is identification of most, not all characteristics, and the use of adequately, not thoroughly explained logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. Copying this into the minimal category. The first step for the minimal category, the student should be able to identify some of the required characteristics accurately for the given system or signal. And the second step would be based on the characteristics, classify the system or signal as per the given types, using explanations for logical reasoning and mathematical expressions that do contain some errors. Copying this content into the unsatisfactory category, students are unable to identify even some of the required characteristics accurately of the given system or signal. And based on these characteristics, the students are unable to classify the system or signal as per the given types using logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. Now faculty decide to assign scores for these different steps. 40% for the first step in identification of characteristics and 60% for the classification of characteristics based on logical reasoning and mathematical expressions. This selective approach facilitates systematic and manageable curriculum delivery and focused teaching and learning strategies, highly beneficial for both the faculty and students. The hybrid rubric and the language contained herein targets Patty's 4 power principles of OBE: clarity of focus, highest expectations, design down, and expanded opportunity. Clarity of focus, clear language, action verbs explained in sequential steps, expected student work is detailed. For highest expectation, highest skills levels are outlined. All steps are sequential and all steps are mandatory in the highest expectation category. For design down, we start with ABIT SOs, then we go to course outcomes, and then performance indicators, then rubrics, then teaching and learning strategies, assessments, and then faculty and student feedback, followed by CQI activity for improvement. For expanded opportunity, there is clarity of students' expectations, there is clarity for student feedback, there is improved opportunity for faculty-student dialogue, and there are set standards for qualification of expanded opportunity.